Talofa lava and welcome to the Global Pasifika Success Podcast. I'm Andrew Fa'avali, your host. Every week I'll be chatting with successful Pacific people from across the globe, unpacking their stories and more importantly, picking out insights, lessons and golden nuggets you can use to live your best life too. Okay, Talofa lava, welcome back to the Global Pasifika Success Podcast. Really awesome to have Lukhan Salakaia-Loto here, Wallaby, an Australian rugby representative, and also playing currently for the QLD Reds. Dude who was born in Auckland, raised in Sydney, and is now resident here in the Sunshine State of Queensland. He went to the last World Cup and has been an integral part of the Wallabies since he made his debut. So for me, it's a real privilege to have a young bloke and a young perspective on the show, especially for Pacific people here in Australia and New Zealand. So thanks, bro. Thanks for jumping on, man.
Nah, all good. Thanks for having me.
Right, so man, do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself? I've read about you in the news and the newspaper. The reason why I wanted you on was because I think that I really like the things that you're saying out there. I really like the things that you've stood for. I'm, just like everyone else, I'm a fan of the Wallabies and the Reds especially. And so, yeah, man, where did it all start? So you were born in Auckland but moved over pretty early to Australia.
Yeah, so I was born in Auckland in '96. Made the move to Sydney when I was younger. Done all my schooling in Sydney. First jobs in Sydney. All my childhood. All those early experiences I had was down in Sydney. So never did I thought that I'll end up in Brisbane. But I'm glad I have. Got 6 siblings. I'm the eldest of us 6. So. Got a big responsibility on my shoulders, and got a example that I got to set for them. So, it's good. It's kept me on my toes. It's made me work hard and want to provide opportunities for them and my family, and also give back to my parents. So, I'm blessed and grateful to be based up here in Brisbane now, kind of living the dream, as they say, and just trying to not take each day for granted, and just trying to make the most of it.
Yeah, congrats, man. You achieved heaps already. But how old is your youngest sibling?
My youngest sibling?
Yeah. What's their ages?
Zoe, my youngest one?
Yeah.
She's 3.
Wow.
So it's 3, 10, 11, 15, 16, and 20.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, man. So leading the troop.
Yeah, so kind of getting hit from more angles, all ages, kind of, trying to learn how to accommodate for each one. But it's been a good challenge, and it's something that I take pride in, and trying to set the best example for them as I can. And it may not be perfect, but at least there's someone up there, for them to look up to.
Yeah, like as Pacific people, a lot of our siblings are our caretakers, or a lot of our families, the parents work 2 jobs sometimes. So our elder siblings turn into kind of quasi parents. What's that been like for you? Obviously, you're thriving in that role, but how did you come to this point where because a lot of people reckon it's a burden and they get rebellious in that.
Yeah.
How did you take a different approach to see it as like a blessing, and you want a role model and set a good example?
That's a good question. Just how I've been raised, all the lessons and life lessons that's been instilled in me from a young age, and just seeing how my older cousins operate with their younger siblings. They've kind of been grateful enough for them to set a good example for me to follow and want to strive for and kind of be like. So, I've always been told from a young age that your younger siblings follow what you do. So, you may not like it or whatnot, but that's just how it is, and that's just how life goes. So, for me, like I said, I take real pride in trying to set the best example I can for my siblings, and I don't want to look back one day and regret that what I could have done, or what the path I took could have influenced them in a bad way. That's something that I'm afraid of, and I don't want that to affect them, and you're just guiding them, nurturing them, and not trying to not trying to be another parent or whatever, because that's not my job. Just trying to walk beside them and kind of walk with them along their journey and try and give them little lessons or corrections here and there, but just making sure I leave a fair bit of space for them to learn things on their own and grow in their own space. I think that's a big important thing. Trying to be a good influence, but try not to be too much of an influence. Let them create their own picture. So yeah, I can go on for days, but yeah, that's
That's
just
mean, bro. What the heck?
yeah,
You're the youngest too, but man, that's a mature thing. That's one of the most mature things I've heard anyone say, man. That's mean.
yeah.
Um, all right, so what age did you come over from New Zealand?
Oh, I think it would have been three, 3 or 4. I think it was just when I just turned 4. I'm pretty sure we
So you
moved
got a
to
lot of family down in Sydney.
yeah. I'm one of 18 grandchildren on my mum's side. Um, I think I'm the eighth eldest, so I got a fair bit of older brothers and sisters that I call and look up to. So we moved to Campsie when we were young. When I was 4, my little sister was born. Then I think we moved to Marrickville, Canterbury, and then we moved out to the southwest towards Liverpool areas. And then before we moved to Brizzy, we were staying in Mount Annan near Campbelltown. So
So what's it like in Brisbane then? Because you got all heaps of family down there. Obviously, your immediate family, your siblings, and that moved up. Have you
yeah,
got much family up here?
yeah. So I've got my mum's, my nana's sisters, and her brother. So my mum's first cousins and all my second cousins and all that that we've got. We see quite a fair bit during Christmas and all those holidays, the holiday season. So it's good to have them here, have a family support up here. But it's also good to just have our own space as well. Like I said, my siblings are still young, so just kind of being independent in a way and just letting them figure out things on their own. And yeah, it's just good to have our own space, but not be too far from family.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Because it's made even better, or it's highlighted that it's an even better experience actually. Because in the papers we learned that your father passed away a couple of years ago, I think. So
Yeah,
condolences for that, and that led to a name change. A lot of people don't understand the heaviness or the weight or the genealogy that comes with our names. So,
yeah.
what was the name change about? I think it's quite obvious, but it'd just be good to get it from you what the name change was about because you were Lukhan Tui and now Lukhan
Yeah.
Salakaia-Loto.
Yeah, so on my birth certificate, my last name is Loto Tui. So I got a long last name, and that decision for me was something that I thought about back in the past when I was younger, coming up playing footy. Got a lot of reasons behind it. But yeah, it was just something that I thought I had to do and just honor my father, and kind of just sort of my way of saying thank you. And also for my siblings. It represents siblings on both sides that I've got. So just to represent both sides of my family, my siblings, and I'm the only one with this last name now. So it's kind of unique to just be the first one with this last name. So I carry it with the biggest honor. It's something that I take pride in, and trying to create a good name for itself and for my siblings. So that's the whole reason behind it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and in the media lately, there's been a big uproar because Erin Molan was supposedly making fun of our last names, and then this
Yeah,
kind of comes up here and again and again and again that they still haven't learned how to pronounce our last names. But
yeah,
with you doing that, like I know that all the islanders know how much meaning and how touching it was for you to represent both of your fathers really and their whole lineage.
yeah,
So man, family's obviously important. There was a time where you took a break from rugby, and I don't want to bring all that up, but man, taking a break from rugby
yeah,
for people whose whole life, a lot of our young people, that's their whole life, right?
yeah.
Like that's their life ambition is to play rugby. So I can't really imagine what kind of went on behind your decision to have a break from footy, especially when you're at the top.
Yeah.
Was that an easy decision or was it a tough one?
Oh, it was you know, with those circumstances and what happened, it was the easiest decision. But in saying that, it was the most logic decision. you know, there's a lot of people that reached out and tried to get me to play, from coaches to fans to players. You know, I haven't told many people this, but even the governor of Australia gave me a call. Yeah, he gave me a call and he said, you know, we're behind you, and you know, there's a lot of fans in the public are behind you, want to see you do well. And I just said, you know, with no disrespect, but for me, you know, at this point in time, the jersey doesn't mean anything to me.
Wow.
The money, the match payments, you know, the accolades and the opportunity to represent everyone as a country, it just took a back seat, and it was a decision that was just so easily made, because you know, my family will always come first. And you know, I think it's easy for people who don't go through those experiences or aren't in my shoes in that point in time to say, you know, that's what he wanted you to do. Your family would want you to play. Like, you know, of course, my family would want me to play. You know, my family told me to go and, you know, do what I love, but you know, I just had to, you know, put myself last, and just made the decision on, you know, straight after that game. Just, you know, got up in front of the boys and said, so, yeah, no decision or no person's gonna influence me in turning my back on my family. Um, so yeah, I made the decision to step down, and you know, people say, you know, it's often risky. You know, what happens if that's your last chance? And you know, for me, that wasn't my thought process. I knew that, you know, if I took care of myself off the field and my family, I knew I'd be in the right position, you know, mentally and physically, to be able to come back and, you know, pick up where I left off.
So what was behind it? So it was the period of your father's passing,
Yeah.
and you just wanted to support, emotionally support, and be physically there, because it's a game that takes you away from your family quite a lot with big tours and stuff like that, eh?
Yeah. So at that point in time, I think I had been away from family for, oh, just over a month since I last saw them. And, you know, I knew if I went on that trip on the spring tour, I knew it would have felt like double that, triple that time being away from that family, especially with what had happened in my life. And saying that, I knew I wouldn't have been in the right position to play my best footy.
Mm.
um, so yeah, I just, you know, my family had to come first, and you know, I was in a position where I had to step up in my household. I had to, you know, not sort of fill those shoes, but I had to, you know, be there as the eldest boy, and support my mum, support my siblings, and just, you know, make sure that, you know, they felt, you know, with me being there, I could, in somewhat way, you know, be the man of the house, as they say. You know, I will never be the man of my house, but I just had to, you know, it's sort of like an unwritten rule, I feel anyway.
Man, credit to you, man. That's massive. Um, Tell us about footy, man, because you know right now the Broncos aren't doing too good, and we've seen that, bro. Some fans are sending death threats and saying "go kill yourself," and
Yeah,
getting messages like that. Alex Len came out on the news and said, "Man, it's just a game," and I
yeah,
feel like you've got that approach too. That it's your work, but it's also just a game, and fans sometimes take it too far. You were obviously in under the pump. You know, the governor of Australia is ringing you up to say, "Please keep playing for us," which is cool too, because it's testament to how good you are and how important you are to the team. But what's that like, man, being under the pump from all sorts of angles? What's it like for a pro footy player? Because most of us don't make it.
yeah. Oh, you're gonna see stuff on the media if you want to look at that stuff and read comments. You know, you're gonna get messages. You know, unfortunately, you know, players are getting death threats at the moment. Um, the way I've approached it is that, you know, they don't fully understand. So, you know, because they don't fully understand, they shouldn't. You know, they don't deserve your full attention to it. You know, once they've got your attention and once they see you bite, it's kind of like, yeah, that's like them scoring a try, I guess. You know, they feel like their job's completed. You know, for me, like I said, they don't fully understand. So I just laugh at them because, you know, for people to even just, you know, sit behind the keyboard and you know, get real tied up in emotions over a game is just silly. Um,
Yeah.
you know, we talk about, you know, players' mental health and all that, but you know, I also feel for the people that are sending those death threats, because, you know, for them to even do something like that shows that they've got something going on as well. And
What a
you know,
life.
yeah, they need help just as much as anyone else. So yeah, I can be, the thing with me, I can be real straight up and point blank with stuff, which is which I'm known for within my circle of friends and family. But you know, for me, I got no time for those people. You know, at the end of the day, they'll still support us. So um yeah, I think it's real sad to see. And you know, with everything that's going on in the world at the moment, with
Yeah.
pandemic and this whole Black Lives Matter movement and the youth, to see that we've still got people taking time out of the day to send death threats is shocking, eh?
Yeah, so man, give us an insight into athletes, man. The Wallabies went on a bad streak, eh?
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk about the streak, but I just want to see how emotions. How do you manage how do you manage your emotions, and how do you manage your well-being when you're on a streak of not winning? You know what I mean? Not to talk about the Wallabies as a team, but just to talk about yourself in that atmosphere.
Yeah, so man, I'm only 23 still, and I'm still learning.
Yeah,
So just being in those environments and just seeing, there's been times where we've gone through some rough patches and haven't, put some wins together. Man, it can be tough. And me being young, still learning on the run. I'm still trying to find ways to deal with those things, and what can I do to, to add to the cause of trying to, produce some wins and change the streak and all that. Um, it's pretty cliche. I just continue just to try to work hard.
yeah,
I try to take care of what's in my backyard first. Try to better myself as a player, and there's no doubt that everyone else in the team does the same thing. It's just sometimes things don't go your way, and you can't afford to just give up and just feel sorry for yourself. Because at the moment, I feel like there's something brewing up in Australian rugby.
yeah.
People might say otherwise, but I definitely feel we're building to something, and we've got a lot of young players coming through, which I think who are very good in their age and will continue to to do well. But yeah, to answer your question, I just continue just to work hard because that's what you can do every day, and I'm sure good times will come, not too far away.
Yeah, because I always say, I guess when I have sports, athletes, I haven't had many athletes on, but I think that elite sport is kind of this mirror or window into life. Because one week you could be winning and on top of the world, and then the next week,
Yeah,
man, you could have lost by one, and that must be one of the most depressing feelings. Well, it looks like it. And the fans expect you not to crack up with your mates who you played against. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
think what I see from afar, and I don't know many elite athletes, but I see that afterwards you're actually all mates because you're all going for the same thing, just for different countries.
yeah,
And sometimes the fans don't want you to be talking because you lost. They want you to go kick a bucket and stuff like that. Is it the fact that you are
yeah,
friends with these guys because you see them so much? Like the All Blacks,
yeah,
or if you're the Reds, the Hurricanes or the Chiefs.
yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, I'm still young in this game, so I don't really have many relationships with players from other teams besides a few of the Aussie teams. So for me, it's just play. It's always good to have a laugh and a smile after the game. If if you're blessed enough to come out of the game uninjured, then I guess it's always something to smile about. You got family watching, friends watching, you're living your dream. You got every reason to smile after the game. But obviously fans want to see us gutted and filthy about losses. So
Yeah,
that's only 30 seconds of what they see post game. They don't see what it's like, the long drives home, the bus rides home, the nights spent in hotels when you're down and out, the team meetings when you're getting grilled, or just the stuff you see in the media. Yeah, I think you can't be right these days. You always gotta accommodate to certain people or to certain situations nowadays. If you aren't politically correct, you're someone who doesn't care or someone who doesn't give.
yeah.
I just think, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
They have each to
Uh,
their own.
It was like I had David Solomon on, and he played an NRL grand final of Sydney City and Sydney City and the Eels. But he said after the Sydney one, he was looking around and he was like the happiest guy, even though he was on a losing team. He was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, I was unwanted at the Warriors, and now I'm on the grand final losing team, but I'm still on the field. I can't believe I played it." I just
yeah,
like that honesty and the fact that I think that's a window into gratitude.
yeah,
So, what
yeah.
about
Because
coaches,
yeah,
man? What's the best style of coaching that you've come across? Not to name any names, but what kind of coaching do you think helps you get the best out of you? But then also, because this is a Pasifika success podcast, what do you
yeah.
reckon fosters success for Pacific players?
Wow, yeah. So for Pacific players, for us, we like to hide a lot of things behind our, laughing and
Okay.
being in a good mood. So, for us, I've seen a lot of boys, and I'm still young, but I have seen a lot of boys who are quietly spoken, who don't want to step on other people's toes, who just want to respect. They feel like there's that respect barrier. We can't overstep that mark. So I think in terms of coaching, the best coaching that I have had is when a coach makes the effort to know the player on a personal level.
Yeah.
Because I think it's impossible to try and get the best out of the player if you don't really know what drives him, what ticks him off, how to get the best out of him. What does he do on a daily basis? What does he do on his days off? How does he react to things? What does he enjoy? What doesn't he enjoy? So, the coaches that I've had that's got the best out of me, take the time out of their schedule to put time into players and to understand that it's a tough gig because there's like squads of 30 to 40 boys. So to be able to do that, it's taxing. But
Yeah.
in saying that, they're not the only coach on the team. It's a team effort. Um, but going back to your question about getting the best out of Pacific Islander boys, yeah, we're bred differently, eh? I think it's yeah. I've seen too many times where we're really quiet and just reserved. We don't want to overstep that mark, especially if someone's older than us. But it can be turned upside down in an instant when we get pissed off or we don't like things. So I think just finding a balance. A lot of us juggle family responsibilities.
Yeah.
We don't have the luxury of just chilling on a day off, or we don't have the luxury of not worrying about certain stuff that we do worry about because family does come first. For a lot of us, playing rugby is not only just our income. It's our family's income. As much as we'd like for the money just to be our own, our spending money, and to be able to do stuff for ourselves. You know, our dream is lived for the people before us. That's helped get to where we have gotten today. So we carry you can say, in a way, you can say a burden. I don't like to look at it like that way. In a way, we do carry a lot of responsibility. So, there's stuff that's obviously heavy on the mind coming into games. And, um, you know, for a lot of us boys, for myself, especially going to training every day is sort of like our spot where we can, just step away from our family stuff. And, it's sort of like school, express ourselves, have a laugh with the boys, train, and just be open. So I think, coaches really have to take time to understand certain boys' situations.
So, man, you were talking about, and I agree with this point that, we're quiet, but underneath it, there's something kind of bubbling, and sometimes we don't communicate. But then at a point where you've pissed us off, then we go from 0 to 100.
Yeah,
And, it turns into a really aggressive moment or aggressive period. And then
yeah,
we look bad. Do you
yeah,
think there's a gap for us to be able to like chat about those things that are bubbling under?
yeah. I think there is. I think we have to take it upon ourselves to be able to, open up to a level because, as much as we can ask for people to create space for us to feel comfortable to speak up on certain stuff, it does start from within. We
Yeah.
have to, be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm.
We have to take that step out of our comfort zone and, be able to voice and talk about what's going on because, like you said, when stuff bubbles up and, we explode, now we're the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like,
But we're thinking, but you pissed me off all along. But
yeah,
they had
yeah,
no idea, right? And
yeah.
then all of a sudden, boom, candles
Yeah.
off, t-shirts off, and then it
Yeah,
looks really
yeah.
bad.
I just think we have to change the way we react to certain things.
Yeah.
Because the way we react is, how we get looked upon, and we can, be judged on that. So, you see how it is when, there's obviously more Islanders in one team. There's obviously a bit more, space for us to kind of be open. But, we gotta sort of, try and get out of this box that keeps us enclosed and just try and, try and try and be uncomfortable for once because it's all about learning, I guess.
Is that how you're feeling it's going for the Pacific dudes, especially the Wallabies and the Reds? I feel like that prop, Daniela Tupou, I feel like
Yeah,
he's a pretty open dude, even though he tells a lot of jokes. Maybe he seems like an open dude. You had Samu Karevi there in your leadership role, who was cool. and open, and Caleb Timu felt like a really mature dude as well. This Kamaku Hunt at this part of his career seems to be quite mature. Are these guys fostering their openness and the ability to articulate our emotions?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because we all have a sense of understanding on how it is,
Yeah,
how we feel. Then you add in all the different experiences and situations that we've all been through. Then you add in all the older boys' advice and all their life lessons. When you mix it all together, we all learn, we all grow together. And
it's awesome.
I think it's important. They talk about hierarchies in each team. Um, in each team, with the Island boys, like at the Wallabies, we had Sekope Kepu, we had Keps, who we refer to as uncle. He's got a family of his own. He's got a wife, so he knows what it's like. And for a lot of boys, questions get answered and questions get asked. So yeah, just having those older boys, like you said, Samu, Caleb, Carmichael, having them around, just learning from their mistakes and them just help nurturing us is, I think it's really important. And it's something that someone like me, a young person, has benefited from.
Man, it's a breath of fresh air because, and we kind of touched on it on the message, but, at the moment, we've had some bad stuff happen in our community with youth.
Yeah,
And so we had the stabbing of the young Tongan dude, Solomone, in Brimbank down in Melbourne. And then we had that thing outside of De La Salle back home in Auckland,
yeah,
where there were youth fighting from two different schools. Man, it's a breath of fresh air to have a young person who's here to screwed on and seems to have a different field of vision for Pacific people and Pacific youth. What do you reckon's happening in our communities that we're still overrepresented in youth justice and dudes are stabbing each other? And unfortunately, they've killed one of our own, which is a massive tragedy. What do you
yeah.
reckon's up with that from a young person's perspective?
Too much pride, I reckon.
Yeah,
That's my honest truth. That I reckon there's too much pride, and it's too much pride in the wrong things.
yeah,
And to be honest, you see a lot of boys walking around, covering their faces. They don't want to be caught. It's just kind of like you're contradicting yourself. You want to go and do these things, but you don't want to be. You don't want to own your stuff. It's like,
yeah.
I've got a young brother of my own. I've got two brothers of my own who are 15 and 16, and for me, trying to nurture them away from that stuff. And for me, it starts at home.
Yeah,
I got a younger brother at home. It really does start at home, trying to, have those connections, those chats, and just, have those tough conversations about things, because it can get awkward. But, just trying to encourage him to be real, be himself. And I see a lot of young Islander kids, I pick up my brother from school almost every day after training. And I see these kids walking from school, I see them, how they are around their friends, how they are around the Balangi boys and all their friends. It's natural for them to feel cool and be the funny dude and that. But I see a lot of insecurities as well.
yeah,
I see all these people walking around in gangs, as they say, want to be gangs and be tough guys. But I see a lot of insecurities. I see a lot of boys who, when they go home, they're not allowed to do certain stuff.
mm,
I see a facade that's been put up. A lot of curious boys who are, who come from good homes. That's the thing. I know for a fact that they come from disciplined homes.
yeah,
And it's not like they don't know right from wrong. But in saying that, there's some people who do come from situations we don't know or that are unheard of. But for me, it's the pride factor. There's too much pride, and at a young age, it's what for? What?
yeah.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah, no, it is. All right, it is confusing and it's really sad. And I really like that post that you put up. Be the same person that leaves the house out with your mates and out at school and out on the
Yeah,
streets. I think there's a lot of
yeah,
fake people out there pretending to be all brave and
yeah,
macho, but really what sits underneath it is that insecurity. And I like that because if we don't hit the root of it, then we can't answer. Can't really get a solution. So I wonder why they're insecure. What do you reckon are the sources of insecurity, man? Is it not enough talking, not enough nurturing from parents? Is it that they have to live up to this macho kind of persona that maybe we've put on ourselves, or the media have put on us, or someone's put on us?
yeah. I'm not gonna sit here and kind of tell parents that are listening how to,
Mm,
parent their kids or whatever. But I definitely feel that there's that responsibility to. I feel like there's a responsibility to be the tough dude, to be the strong guy. It's okay to have. It's okay to feel insecure. It's okay to feel, that something's against you, or it's okay to feel like you don't have everything right. No one's got everything right. But
yeah,
when you see kids going away from how they really are at home, to being something that they're not, it confuses me, and to be honest, it pisses me off, because that's our youth. To see our Pacifica boys, trying to hurt each other, or fight against each other, is it's just, I sit there and I laugh, but then I also sit there and scratch my head, going, "What are we doing?"
yeah,
But at the same time, there's these days the youth, they're wired differently.
yeah,
They're influenced by so many things, social media. I've seen a lot of people blaming drill music, which I personally think is the easy way out.
mm,
It's just saying, "Oh, blame drill music." I think that's just, you're not really addressing the situation. You're just trying to find something to fill the answer box. You're just blaming it on drill music.
mm,
But like I said, it starts from home. We have to continue to instill discipline, because I feel when there's a lack of discipline, it allows more room for influence,
yeah.
and the influence could be bad, could be good, but we don't know.
Yeah, man, just touching on drill, but maybe you're at a tangent. So you were born in Auckland, and what I see about a lot of young people is um, they still hark back to, yeah, man, I'm from South Auckland. Yeah, man, I'm from, Rewa
Yeah,
or Otara or
yeah,
West Side. But I felt like drill music, not getting into the content or substance of what they're saying, but drill music for me was a time when Australian Pacific said, man, this is how we talk. This is who
yeah,
we are. This we've
yeah,
got mullets. We're a mixture of the Bogan and the Australian, and we've got our own Indigenous now here that influence us as well. It was kind of a point in time for me that Australian Pacific said, "Man, I'm owning my Australian Pacific identity, and I don't really need to keep looking up to New Zealand."
yeah, yeah.
Is that how you felt as a younger person?
Oh, for me, I didn't really feel like I belonged to any,
Oh,
because that I wasn't any of those.
yeah,
I'm someone who was born in South Auckland. I'm someone who grew up in Western Sydney.
yeah,
But for me, I just felt, I was never involved in those, that crowd, or I was never that person. So I felt like there's no need for me to kind of dwell on it too much, or represent it as much as other boys do. And power to those boys that do, because that's where they come from. That's how they were. That's how they grew up. That's the circle they hang out with. It's being proud about where you're from, and who you are. But just to see the Australian Pacific boys, because I do understand when you're saying, it was always a thing to go, my family's from this in South Auckland, my family's from Otara, blah, blah, blah. Like, I know what you meant, because there was a point in time where it was, New Zealand did run the game
yeah,
in terms of music and culture. But, it's good to see now. You see everyone's speaking the lad and all that stuff, I think in that sense, it's good, because, we're starting to own that. That's who we are.
yeah,
And not only is it, trying to say they're better than New Zealand or whatever, it's just opening up our horizons. Like, look how many opportunities it's created for young people, especially in music.
yeah,
And you see a lot of people now. You see, the New Zealanders, doing the opposite,
yeah,
doing the reverse. You see a lot of New Zealand groups coming out, and they're doing drill music. And not to say that's an Australian music art form, but now you're seeing it.
the
And
influence from the
yeah,
other way.
yeah, I think it's good. It just creates more opportunities and success paths for everyone.
Man, I know you're into hip hop, and I reckon I like your hip hop kind of influences, and I know that your dad was a hip hop legend back in New Zealand
Yeah.
as well. Bro, what's going on with the hip hop for you? Are you starting to release stuff, and what kind of messages are you looking to put out? And who are your influences too?
Yeah, so like you said, my old man was a musician back in the day, and there's a lot of people who I've crossed paths, through footy, and just throughout my life, that they kind of say, "Oh, you're so and so's son," and all that. I'm like, yeah, yeah. And now that I've now that people have kind of realized that I'm also into music, they always talk and refer back to him, which is nice. But yeah, like I said, my influences, my favorite artist is Nas.
Ah,
You know, I think it's pretty clear cut. I post about him quite a bit.
what's your favorite Nas album? Illmatic?
Yeah, Illmatic's my favorite one. Yeah. Oh, it's yeah, it's pretty cliche when people ask what's your favorite Nas album. I always say Illmatic. So yeah, Nas, Method Man, ooh, Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of for me a lot of conscious artists. You know, who touch on you know, the realities of today and their society, their community, and today's problems. So I always felt like I had a connection to those things. Which, you know, in somewhat way I've been influenced by music in the sense where I do think about my surroundings and, you know, the problems of today, and I think it's kind of helped me, you know, sort of mold the person I am today.
So where do you hope to take your music?
Yeah, so I'm currently working on some stuff, some singles. You know, I'm working with a lot of good people. You know, I got a good mentor in D, Groove Junkie Music.
Oh, yeah.
He was part of Sidel, sorry. So, you know, I've got
Oh,
a good
yeah,
mentor in
yeah.
him, good mentor in D. You know, so I'm working on a few singles at the moment. Hopefully, work towards an EP. But it was something that I got told when I first started doing this music stuff was, you know, you can't get back what you put out. So, for me, that stuck with me and hit hard and hit home. So, I just want to make sure I take time in what I'm creating, what I'm writing, because I know there's going to be a few people out there listening. You know, I know that I've got my whole family listening, so I can't go and be someone I'm not. You know, I can't. Don't want to be. You know, one thing I don't want to be doing is surrendering my music. You know,
Yeah.
because I do have younger siblings, and you know, I still got to come home after I record my music.
Yeah, they're like, hey,
Yeah,
you can't tell me what to do now.
yeah,
I speak for you.
yeah. Yeah. So working on a few things, so you know, hopefully get released. You know, throughout the year. So it's exciting. It's something that I have, you know, away from footy and from my life responsibilities to keep me sane and, you know, just to keep me mellow, keep me balanced.
So what other things are keeping you balanced, man?
Oh, reading. I read a fair bit. You know, I watch, jump on YouTube. You know, I listen to a lot of great speakers. You know, watch a lot of interviews.
Who's influencing you there
Spending
in the books and the YouTube?
Also, at the moment, I'm just reading a lot of autobiographies on like athletes and just how they go about you know, their business. I just finished reading Mike Tyson's autobiography, so his one was a bit more ruthless.
Yeah,
So it's good to see, you know, just to see, you know, at the end of the day, everyone's a normal person,
yeah,
you know, doesn't matter what you do for a job, you know. So for me, just reading those books and you're just seeing how people think, you know, really does make me think about, you know, the way I go about my business. Interviews. You know, lately I've been, you know, watching a lot of Louis Farrakhan, you know,
yeah.
Elijah Muhammad, you know, a lot of that stuff. So yeah, just I think it's good to just keeps me thinking. So it makes me learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there many critical thinkers in the footy space?
In terms of other players that I've come
Yeah,
across,
yeah. Other players who are kind of interested in the things that you're interested in.
um, oh, yeah, there's a fair few boys. A lot of Balangi boys I have good conversations with. It's good. It's good to just get their perspective on things.
Yeah,
You know, we start off with joke and all that, and then, you know, we just start talking about other stuff. You know, I had a chat with one of the younger boys yesterday. Actually, just he was like, "Oh, what are you doing on your day off?" And I, you know, I kind of explained to him what I do on my day off, and he was just like, "Oh man, I'm so lucky. You make me feel like I do nothing on my day off." And I'm just like, bro, you know, we come from, you know, two different situations. That's just life, and you know, just having those conversations with boys, you know, those connections, building those relationships and the chemistry, you know, kind of links back to what you're saying in terms of team success. You know, just having those conversations with other people, but it also makes me feel grateful. You know, and this guy's only 19, so you know, he was just talking about how grateful he is to just be in a setup. You know,
yeah,
it made me feel, you know, be grateful for what I'm doing. You know, having doing this for 5 years, and it just, you know, kind of just go a little reminder saying, Khan, you know, remember to always be grateful. So yeah.
and for footy, and this is actually a question because I'm good mates with Rama from QRU. Now he's at
Oh
RA,
yeah,
and I said, man, what do you
yeah.
reckon I should ask this dude? And he reckons, ask him if it was always a dream. Was it always a dream to play top level footy, or and that dreams come to reality, or was it something that kind of happened along the way?
Yeah, it was always a dream, but you know, with you always got to work hard for it. So, for me, it was always a dream up until I was about 17. That's when I started actually, working hard. And I knew that I was coming towards the end of school, that I had to have something, and I had to do something with myself. So I was like, man, I can't just sit back and just say, I want to play, because my ambitions was to play in the NRL. I was a league player
Oh,
growing up my whole
yeah,
life, so I always wanted to play professional footy. So I was like, hit 17, I was like, man, I actually got to start working hard for this. I can't just sit back and just hope for it.
yeah.
So yeah, was lucky enough to, make a few school teams and stuff, and it led to, being called into the Waratahs Academy, and man, from there it was just a domino effect. It just one thing after the other, and I was just like, man, it's just moving so fast. So yeah, it was always a dream, but I never started working for it until I was about 17
Any
properly.
aspirations to go back to the NRL?
I always think about it because
Different. You reckon you would be able to do it? Oh, you got everything there. Second row.
oh yeah, I like to think I would. For me, it's something that's always been in the back of my mind because I always felt like I failed that path, and I was involved with SG ball teams and stuff. I never made the transition to 20s or whatever, but I always in the back of my mind it was always a burden for me because I felt like I failed myself there. I felt like I didn't really give it a genuine crack. So who knows? One day, you know, I'd love to play for the Warriors because that's my team. Yeah,
Your team.
that's my team. Yeah. So
Oh man,
who knows? Yeah,
feel sorry for the brothers at the moment. They're doing it tough,
yeah,
especially, you're an athlete, so you would know the whole picture.
yeah,
And that's what I was trying to say at when I was interviewing David, because David Solomona's down there in a pastoral role.
yeah,
I was thinking, man, they weren't even allowed out of their hotel. They didn't have their family coming over. What do you think about these guys who are saying, you said you promised that we could have our family over,
yeah,
and now they're not over, and the Australians have their families, so that you didn't stick to your side. I want to go home. What do you reckon
yeah.
about that?
Oh man, I just feel for them, hopefully they're doing well in a mental capacity.
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of things off field that does translate onto the field. I'll be lying to say, that I can have anything going off the field and go on the field and perform at my best because,
yeah,
it correlates. It's so much. There's these guys once they finish on the training paddock, I bet you they're checking up on their families or they're
mm,
making sure they're trying to not stress over things. And you've got partners, wives, girlfriends, mothers looking after kids, multiple kids in some circumstances, that they got a big responsibility. It does build stress on both ends. And then these boys got to go on a Saturday and perform.
mm.
And then when fans get angry and mock them, because you know how the Warriors fans are, oh, they're the worst.
Yeah.
They're the worst. You see, like, I seen a video last night, just some dude doing a voiceover. Yeah, it's funny, but man, it's just, man,
Yeah, the voiceover with when Cameron Smith and
yeah,
and
yeah,
Bellamy go in. Yeah,
yeah. I was like, that's just so typical of us, eh? To
yeah,
just, and it might be funny, but man, to these guys, it's something that it's a job for them. They take seriously, and it's something. Even to their partners, to their families, it's something they take seriously because there's a lot of their families back in New Zealand who are sacrificing their own time and their own ambitions and dreams to look after kids and to hold it down at home. So I really do feel sorry for them. Oh no, I don't feel sorry for them. Sorry, I feel for them because
mm,
there's a lot of stuff that we don't know that they're going through.
mm. Yeah, man. Uh, yeah, I agree. I don't think it's a level playing field when 15 other teams are going home to their wives and kids and having all that support, and
Yeah,
these kids are like living with people that they are teammates with, but they might not be able to live together. Just because you're teammates doesn't mean you can live together well.
yeah. Oh, and you get sick of your teammates over
Oh
time. I
yeah.
know. I know. I have. I know. I know. I've asked to change rooms a fair few times over because oh man, it's something else, eh? But to that part, it's also good for them as a team. They're getting to live in each other's pockets and understand each other more on a personal level. So on the flip side, there is that element. But man, it's certainly outweighed by what they're having to face in terms of family and the support.
Bro, what's the hardest thing about being a pro athlete?
The food, trying to eat well.
Isn't that the hardest thing about life?
Oh, that's the hardest thing.
Yeah, I've been watching the dude James Gavitt. I'm not sure if you know.
Yeah, All his
Bro,
pills he takes in the morning.
I was
Yeah.
like, and egg yolks, and yo, man, I was like, bro,
Yeah.
I'd spew. Is that what you guys have to do?
Oh, no, not everyone. I did see his story. I do follow him on Instagram, so I do see a fair bit of his stuff and what he does eat and all that. So, I don't, I tend to stay away from those things. I found that they've, oh, not so much that they haven't worked for me. I just feel like I prefer just to do things a bit more relaxed. I don't take supplements. I've taken the odd protein shaker here and there, but I'm not really big on it. So, man, the hardest thing is probably just for me. I find it's just balance. And like
Yeah.
personally, I feel like the hardest thing for me is balancing my life in terms of on and off field stuff, trying to get that balance right. That does creep into my preparation. I over the years I've learned what has and what doesn't work for me,
Mm.
what doesn't work for me. So my preparation is sort of like that's my priority, making sure I tick certain things off in the week, and I'm staying on top of things to make sure that come Friday or Saturday night that I'm ready to go. So yeah, for me it's just that balance, making sure that I'm not too stressed, and I am getting away from footy and just enjoying life. But yeah, I wouldn't say nothing's too stressful, because for me I love doing it, what I do every day.
So with the food, do you prepare your own food, or do you go out and just buy like organic, or like do you buy the food that's gonna fuel you? How do you prepare all that, man?
Yeah, so for me, I just go with the flow. I kind of know I weigh in every day, so I know I'm not getting above plain weight. We work with dietitians and nutritionists, throughout the week, and all year round. So they've got a bit of advice for us. We get given meal plans. If sticking to that meal plan is another thing. So um, yeah, for me, I know what works for me. I don't go too crazy, but I know what works for me. So
Good stuff.
yeah, you can't really be eating KFC every Tuesday, cheap Tuesday.
Cheap Tuesday,
Feel
nine
like
for
it.
nine.
So yeah,
Um, Man, we're really proud of you. Obviously you go out and represent your family, but also your community. Man, we're really proud of you when we see you and all the other brothers represent the Wallabies and the Reds and whichever team you play for. But what's your proudest moment in footy?
oh, my proudest moment. I told Caleb this the other day when I was talking to him. So my proudest moment for me was going back to Samoa and playing in front of
Oh, man.
in front of our our people. For me, that was a huge honor, and it wasn't so much just playing the game. There was actually going there for the week and seeing where my family comes from,
Which
my mum's
villages are
side.
you
So
from?
so my mum's village, we're from Faleula,
Oh,
so not too far from the airport
yeah,
and not too far from town. And my old man's village is Lelepa in Savai'i. So I went to my mum's village and kind of saw where my nana grew up, where her mum grew up, and just to see the place where because we talk about our parents' sacrifices, and the stuff that they have done to get to where we are today. So just to see on a deeper scale where those sacrifices have stemmed from,
yeah,
just to go back there and just walk around in the house and the fire that my family used to walk around in is humbling, and made me grateful for what I have back at home here in Brizzy. And then not only that, just walking around, seeing the people, connecting with them, seeing how happy they were to see us, and then to top it off was just to play there, was just another thing. So that's definitely my proudest moment.
awesome, man. So footy isn't a lifetime career, not as a player anyway. Are
Yep.
you already kind of thinking into a post-career pathway?
Yep. Yeah. So something that I've always thought about. I'm still 23, but you can never be too young to kind of plan for your future post footy, because they say you're one bad injury away from not playing at all. So touch wood that doesn't happen for me. But in terms of what I want to do post footy, I hope to start it while I'm still doing footy, is to just be involved in youth work.
Awesome.
That's something I kind of want to tap into. And I don't want to create a buzz because you have a rugby player coming and talking to you. I kind of just want to be there, just on the basis that I feel that I have something to offer
Yeah.
to the youth, to the tribal youth especially. Hopefully tapping tap in within that in the next year. It's it's a bit hard now with all the social distancing and all that stuff, but that's something I certainly see myself getting involved in.
Is it an interest of yours to head abroad at a later date? Go
Yeah.
overseas?
Yep. Yeah. I'll be lying if I say that I want to play in Australia for 20 years. Nah. I definitely want to go overseas one day. But in the current situation that I am in now, for me, I'm enjoying playing in Australia, and hopefully I can stick around for a few more years, and hopefully my best footy's ahead of me. So playing in Australia I'm enjoying it.
Right, man. Probably just one of the last questions. If you had 3 people you could invite to dinner, who would you invite?
Oh, 3 people. Probably invite my old man, have a dinner with him. Nas would be one. Yeah. Yeah, I was speaking to my missus the other day, and she was like, "Oh, if you had one person you could have at dinner, who would it be?" And I was like, "Nas," and she's like, "Oh,
Offended.
I swear you got to think for him or something like that." And I was like, yeah.
He was offended.
So,
It's supposed to be me, man.
yeah, so yeah, Nas, and then that last one, probably God.
Sweet.
Yeah, ask God if I'm in the good books or not.
And then give him a flow with Nas. Nah, man. I actually just thought of this. Actually, your late father. Was he the one who came to your Wallabies debut with the All Blacks jersey, or was that off?
Yeah. Nah,
Oh,
yeah.
bro, that's crack up, man.
Yeah. It's funny because we went to spring tour after that, and there was an article that came out, and my mum sent it to me, and it was like Wallabies family, Wallabies supported by family dressed in all black jerseys and stuff. And then I was kept getting asked questions. I was just like, mate, like by my teammates, I was like, you got to understand, I was the biggest All Blacks fan when I was growing up. I
Oh,
was a
really?
huge All Blacks fan growing up. I never supported the Wallabies, and man, everyone was just, all the boys after the game were looking at my parents and my siblings. They're all kitted out in All Blacks, and mind you, and when you get family tickets, they all seated with all the other families.
The
So
Wallabies families.
so all the other families are like, who the hell's family is this in All Blacks, All Blacks kit? So yeah, that was pretty funny, and it was good because that picture will, I always look at that picture and just laugh because they were happy as that that we got up, but I could just tell they were burning deep down inside.
Bro, that's one of the funniest stories, man. I was like, man, this guy's making his debut, and his parents are coming in the All Blacks.
Yeah, man.
Oh, I guess that's where you get it from, man. They're proud, they're loud. They knew they were going to sit around the Wallabies families.
Yeah,
That's just who they support, and whether they're judges or not, they don't really care.
yeah.
They just believe in what they believe in, and they're going to go dressed up as who they're there to support. And
Yeah.
it's not at a cost to them supporting you as well.
Yeah. But nah, yeah, it's something to look back on and just laugh because now they all want to wear Wallabies gears now.
Oh, they changed.
Yeah, they all changed. So it's good.
Bro, any advice for young people coming up, especially young footy players who, man, so many of our young people aspire to get to where you've gotten.
Yeah.
Any advice to them with their aspirations?
Man, it's cliche as it sounds. Just work hard. Work hard. Figure out what your why is. Understand why your why is your why, and just also just to keep on persevering. Never give up. Use your setbacks as motivation to kind of push you forward and keep going. In terms of the young people out there, just urging, just encourage you just to be yourself. Step out of your comfort zone for the good reasons. Invest in getting a part-time job while you're in school. Keep yourself busy. Go get your license. Learn how to drive. Learn all these life lessons and responsibilities at a young age. So once you turn 18, once you do enter the real world, it's not new to you, and it's not foreign to you. So that's what worked for me, and I just encourage young people to also speak up and don't be afraid to talk because the tough guy isn't the one who holds it all in. The tough guy is the one who can express their feelings and be open to it and be open to change and learning. So just continue to be yourself and be happy. Spread love.
What a chat, man. Bro, you just put hope back into the system, man, because, I work with a lot of at-risk youth, and so that's kind of the picture that I see more often than not is at-risk people and the hopelessness that they have and the stuff that they come through. But man, it's so refreshing to have a chat to a young person who's succeeding but has got way more left in them. You're level-headed. It's a testament to your family that you're level-headed, articulate, in touch with your emotions, ambitious and aspirational, and just happy to have another fan of Nas on the show. But bro, thanks so much, man. Wow, what a chat, man.
Yeah, appreciate for having me. Yeah.